Welcome to all devotees. Now we start today's Bhagavatam class. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswati Vyasam Tatajayam Udiret Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Naistiki. Hare Krishna Dandat Pranam. Now today we start new Bhakti Yoga, Srimad Bhagwatam, Canto 11, Chapter 29, Bhakti Yoga, Shloka from 1 to 12. Sri Uddhava Uvacha Sudustaram Imam Manne Yogacharya and Atmana Yatha Anjasa Puman Siddheta Tatme Bruhi Anjasa Achyuta प्रायश पुंडरीकाक्ष युञ्जन्ते योगिनः मनः विषीदन्ति असमाधानात् मनः निग्रहकर्षिताः अथ अत आनन्ददुघं पद अम्बुजं हंसः शयरन् अरविन्दलोचन सुखं नु विश्व ईश्वर योग कर्मभिः त्वत्मायया अमिवेतानमानिनः किं चित्रम अच्युत तव एतत् अशेष बंधो हो दासेषु अनन्य शरणेषु यत् आत्मसात्वतं सात्वं य अरोचेत स मृगैः स्वयं ईश्वराणां श्रीमत् किरीटतटपीठि पीडितपादपीठः त्वं त्वा अखिल आत्म दैत्य ईश्वरम् आश्रितानां सर्व अर्थदम स्वकृतवीत विसृजेत कनो क वा भजेत किमपि विस्मृत्य अनुभृत्यै किं वा भवेन्न तव पाद रजः जुष्याम्नः न अपचितिं कवय तव ईश ब्रह्मा आयुषापि कृतं वृद्धं मुदः स्मरन्तः यः अन्तहितनुभृताम् अशुभं विदुन्वन् आचार्य चैत्य वपुषा स्वगतिं विनक्ति शुकोवाच इति उद्धवेन अति अनुरक्त चेतसा पृष्ठ जगत् क्रीडनक स्वशक्तिभिः गृहीत मूर्ति त्रय ईश्वर ईश्वरः जगाद सप्रेम मनः अरस्मितः श्री भगवान उवाच हन्तते कथयिष्यामि मम धर्मान् सुमङ्गलान् यान् आचरन् मर्त्यः मृत्युं जयति दुर्जयम् कुर्यात् सर्वाणि कर्माणि मदर्थं शनकैः स्मरन् मयि अर्पितमनः चित्तः मद्धर्म आत्मनः रतिः देशान् पुण्यान् आश्रयत् मद्भक्ति साधुभिः श्रितान् देव असुरमनुष्येषु मद्भक्त आचरितानि च आचरणत् पृथक् सत्रेण मह्यं पर्व यात्रा महा उत्सवान् कारयत् हित नृत्याद्देहि महाराज विभूतिभिः माम एव भूतेषु बहिः अन्त अपावृतम् इक्षेत आत्मनि च आत्मानं यथा कम अमल आशय ट्रांसलेशन एंड परवर्ड बाय द श्रीला प्रभुपाद जगत गुरु श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय Shri Uddhav said, my dear Lord Achyut, I fear that the method of yoga described by you is very difficult for one who cannot control his mind. Therefore, please explain to me in simple terms how someone can more easily execute it. Oh, lotus-eyed Lord. Generally, those yogis who try to uh, study the mind experience frustration because of their inability to perfect the state of trance. Thus, they weary in their attempt to bring the mind under control. Therefore, O lotus-eyed Lord of the universe, swan-like men happily take shelter of your lotus feet, the source of a transcendental ecstasy. But those who take pride in their accomplishment in yoga and karma fail to take shelter of you and are defeated by your illusory energy. My dear infallible Lord, it is not very astonishing that You intimately approach your servants who have taken exclusive shelter of you. After all, during your appearance as Lord Ramchandra, even while great demigods like Brahma were vying to place the effulgent tips of their helmets upon the cushion where your lotus feet rested, you displayed special affection for monkeys such as Hanuman because they had taken exclusive shelter of you. Who then could dare reject you, the very soul, the most dear object of worship, and the supreme Lord of all? You give all opposite perfection to the devotees who take shelter of you. Who could be so grateful knowing the benefits you bestow? Who would reject you and accept something for the sake of material enjoyment, which simply leads to forgetfulness of you? And what lacks is there for us who are engaged in the service of the dust of your lotus feet? Oh my Lord, transcendental poets and experts in spiritual science could not fully express their indebtedness to you, even if they were endued with the prolonged lifetime of Brahma. For you appear in two features, externally as the Acharya and internally as the super soul, to deliver the embodied living being by directing him how to come to you. Shukdev Goswami said, thus questioned by the most affectionate Uddhava, Lord Krishna, the supreme controller of all controllers, who takes the entire universe as his plaything and assumes the three forms of Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiv, began to reply lovingly, displaying his all attractive smile. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, yes, I shall describe to you the principles of devotion to me, by executing which a mortal human being will conquer unconquerable death. Always remembering me, one should perform all his duties for me without becoming impetuous with mind and intelligence offered to me. One should fix his mind in attraction to my devotional service. One should take shelter of only places where my saintly devotees reside, and one should be guided by the exemplary activities of my devotees who appear among the demigods, demons, and human beings, either alone or in public gathering, with singing, dancing, and other exhibitions of royal opulence. One should arrange to celebrate those holidays, ceremonies, and festivals set aside specially for my worship. With a pure heart, one should see me, the supreme soul within all beings and also within oneself, to be both unblemished by anything material and also present everywhere, both externally and internally, just like the omnipresent sky. Purport by the Srila Prabhupada, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Without the shelter of the Supreme Lord, the yogi easily becomes discouraged in the difficult task of fixing his mind on the Supreme. Sri Uddhava emphasized here that one can achieve spiritual perfection simply by taking shelter of the personality of Godhead. Those who do not are called Hamsa, the most discriminating human beings, since they are able to locate the actual source of spiritual happiness, the Lord's lotus feet. The Lord Yoga Karma Bhi indicates that those who are attracted to or proud of achievement in the field of mystic yoga or ordinary material endeavor cannot appreciate the great advantage of obediently surrendering to the Supreme Personality of God. Generally, the yogis and fruitive workers are proud of their so-called achievements and are more attracted to their own endeavor than to the Lord Himself. By humbly taking shelter of Lord Krishna, one can advance easily and quickly on the path of Krishna consciousness and go back home, back Godhead. The devotees of the Lord become completely successful by the Lord's causeless mercy. Sometimes Lord Krishna accept a position of subservience to his great devotees, as with Nanda Maharaj, the Gopis, Bali Maharaj, and others. Although demigods like Lord Brahma were standing in line to touch their helmet to the lotus foot cushion, still Lord Ramchandra awarded his most intimate friendship to subhumans, such as the monkeys headed by Hanuman. Similarly, Lord Krishna's affection for the deer and cows, and even for the trees of Vrindavan, is well known. Further, the Lord gladly drove the chariot of Arjuna and acted as the messenger and faithful subordinate of King Yudhishthira. Such duties have no need for the elaborate Jnana Yoga systems or the process for achieving mystic powers. All these duties are represented here by Sri Uddhava, who frankly informs the Lord that the sophisticated systems of philosophical speculation and mystic yoga are not appealing for one who has developed a taste of direct loving service to the Lord. As stated in Narayani of the Moksha Dharma in Sri Mahabharat, Yavai sadhana sampatti purushartha chatushtaye taya vina tat apnoti nara narayana shraya. Whatever among the four goals of human life can be achieved by various spiritual practice is automatically achieved without such endeavors by the person who has taken shelter of Lord Narayan, the refuge of all person. Thus, a Krishna conscious person knows that he will obtain all perfection of life simply by surrendering to the devotional service of Lord Krishna. This is the highest stage of yoga, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. According to Srila Jiva Goswami, Lord Krishna is 10 million times more dear to a devotee than life itself. And according to Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur, even by rendering devotional service for the total duration of 1000 universal creation, a devotee cannot repay the debt he feels to the Lord for having awarded him loving service to the Lord's lotus feet. The Lord appears within the heart as the super soul and externally both as the spiritual master and as his literary incarnation, the supreme Vedic knowledge of Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagwatam. The word Madharmatma, Manaharati, means that all of one's love and affection should be devoted to pleasing the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is not indicated here that one should try to relish selfish satisfaction in devotional service, but rather that one should be attracted to the Lord's own satisfaction, which one achieves by faithfully executing the order of a bona fide spiritual master coming in disciplic succession from Lord Krishna himself. Attachment to one's own satisfaction, even within devotional service, is materialistic, whereas attachment to the satisfaction of the Lord is pure spiritual emotion. Narad Muni is one of the great devotees of the Lord who appeared among the demigods. Prahlad Maharaj appeared among the demons, and many other great devotees, such as Amrish Maharaj and the Pandavas, appeared among human beings. One should take shelter of the devotees' exemplary activities and also the holy places where devotees reside. Thus, one will remain safe on the service. According to Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, the Lord has spoken the present verse to attract those who are inclined toward philosophical speculation about the absolute truth. Such transcendental scholars searching for the ultimate unity will be attracted by the Lord's manifest and described here. Thus end the purport. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Ena Tasmai Sri Gurave Nama Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Ena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuttapada Kamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavancha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Sri Vishakhanvitancha Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात देशतारिणे वाञ्छा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण दंडवत प्रणाम. Today we start new chapter of Srimad Bhagwatam, Canto 11, chapter 29, Bhakti Yoga, from shloka number 1 to 12. We try to understand. According to the name, here they given the importance of the Bhakti Yoga. How Uddhava asking questions and Krishna giving the answer of those questions. Those are described here nicely. And one most important point, according to me, they told that who taking the shelter of the uh, Krishna or Lord Bhagwan, he he understand both externally and internally, just like the omnipresent guy, and he able to go back home, back to Godhead. Prabhuji will tell you in detail. Hare Krishna Dandat Pranam. Vancha kalpatarubhe cha kripa sindhubhe eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavyo namo namo.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Mataji. So, Krishna in the previous chapter has made us understand that spiritual practice can be based on detachment, that we detach ourselves completely from material world. But then it may be difficult. So, Uddhava, considering its difficultness, inquired about an easier method. And replied to that, Krishna gave a brief instruction on Bhakti Yoga or devotional service. The fruity workers and mystic yogis, were bewildered by the illusory energy of Krishna and puffed up by their false identification, refused to take shelter of the lotus feet of Lord. But the swan like mane, those who know how to discriminate between essential and non essential, always take shelter of the lotus feet of the personality of Godhead. The Supreme Lord Himself, who is there with all of us as Chaitya Guru, and without, as a spiritual master who teaches by example, eradicates all the misfortune of the spirit soul and reveals his personal form. So just see how Krishna is merciful to all of us. First, he made us understand Dhyan Yoga, and now, considering that it may be little difficult, he is explaining us a simpler method. And there is nothing simple than Bhakti Yoga. Because without the shelter of Supreme Lord, even a yogi can easily become discouraged in the task of fixing his mind on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because controlling mind is not so easy. But look at a swan. A swan is able to even distinguish between water and milk. So, similarly, if we have that quality, then we can take shelter of Krishna because he is the source of all transcendental ecstasy. But if we keep on taking pride and believe in karma, then we'll fail to take shelter of Krishna and will be completely defeated by his illusory energy. So that becomes a learning for us that humbly by taking shelter of Krishna, we can advance easily and quickly on the path of Krishna consciousness and go back home, back to Godhead. Now, there is also something which is very astonishing. If you see the interactions of Krishna, he intimately approaches his servants who have taken exclusive shelter of him. Like his appearance as Lord Ramchandra, though there were demigods like Brahma who wanted to have effulgent tips upon their helmets where Krishna's feet rested. But still, what Ramchandra did is he displayed special affection for the monkeys, such as Hanuman, who had taken exclusive shelter of Krishna. And that is why the devotees become completely successful due to Lord's causeless mercy. In fact, at times, it takes a position of subservience, like with Nanda Maharaj, the gopis, Bali Maharaj. So that is how Krishna is. So when Uddhava is trying to give these examples, he's frankly informing Lord that the sophisticated system of Dhyan Yoga or philosophical speculation and mystic yoga are not appealing for one who has developed a taste for direct loving service of Krishna. So who can dare to reject Krishna? Because finally, he is the Supreme Lord of all. Who can be so ungrateful considering the benefits which Krishna bestows? Who can reject Krishna and accept something for the sake of material enjoyment, which simply leads to forgetfulness of Krishna? And what can be there a lack for those who are engaged in service to the dust of Krishna's lotus feet? And that is exactly what is spoken about Moksha Dharma in Sri Mahabharat Narayanya part. Yavai sadhana sampatti purusartha chatushtaye taya vina tad apnoti naro narayana ashraya. So Krishna conscious person knows that he will obtain all perfection of life simply by surrendering to the devotional service of Krishna. This is the highest stage of Bhagavad Gita as well. And that is why in Bhagavad Gita that chapter is titled as Attaining the Supreme. Then he's talking about the most confidential knowledge, then the opulence of the Absolute. And once explained all these things and showing the universal form, then in 12th chapter, Krishna talks about devotional service. So, Sri Jiva Goswami, he mentions that Lord Krishna is 10 million times more dear to a devotee than life itself. And Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, by rendering devotional service for the total duration of 1000 universal creations, a devotee cannot repay the debt he feels to the Lord for having awarded him loving service to his lotus feet. The Lord appears within the heart as Paramatma and externally both as spiritual master and his literally incarnation, the supreme Vedic knowledge of Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagwatam. So this interaction has been happening between Uddhava and Krishna. Krishna, who is supreme controller of all controllers, who takes the entire universe as his plaything and assumes all the forms, and who was lovingly displaying his all attractive smile. So, in response to queries of Uddhava, Krishna then says that yes, I'll describe you principles of devotion to me, by executing which a moral human being will conquer unconquerable death. Yana Shraddhaya Acharan Martyum Mrityum Jayatim Durjayam. So what is that? So Krishna says, always remembering me. One should perform all his duties for me without becoming impetus. With mind and intelligence offered to me, one should fix his mind in attraction to Krishna's service. Kuriyat sarvani karmani mad artham shankah smaran maya arpitam anischitto mad dharmam atma manorati. So mad dharmatma manorati means that all of one's love and affection should be devoted to pleasing the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It should not be directed towards your children or parents or spouses. It should be directed towards Krishna. Attachment to one's own satisfaction, even within devotional service, is materialistic, whereas attachment to satisfaction of Lord is pure spiritual emotion. So Krishna instructs that we should take shelter of holy places where saintly devotees reside, and that one should be guided by the exemplary activities of devotees who appear among demigods, demons, and human beings. Narad Muni is one of those great devotees. So he has guided so many persons, Prahlad Maharaj, Amrish Maharaj. So a devotee can be there in any place. So you should take shelter of the devotees' exemplary activities and also the holy places where devotees reside. Then we will be remain safe on the path of devotional service. Krishna says that either alone or in public gatherings with singing, dancing, other exhibitions of royal opulence, one should arrange to celebrate the holy days, ceremonies, and festivals set aside especially for his worship. पृथक् सत्रेण वा मह्यं पर्वयात्रा महोत्सवान् कारयेत गुणनृत्यादि महाराज विभूतिभिः. And then he says, with a pure heart, one should see Krishna within all beings and also within oneself, be both unblemished by anything material and also present everywhere, both externally and internally, just like the omnipresent sky. According to Sri Krishna Chakravarti Thakur, when Lord is speaking this to attract those who are inclined towards philosophical speculation about absolute truth. Because such transcendental scholars searching for ultimate unity will be attracted by Lord's manifestations described here. So let us take to this very seriously. Let us understand this and be successful in our mission of going back home, back to Godhead. Hare Krishna.